You ever take the wrong train home? You check your phone, check the signs, and suddenly, something feels off. Maybe it's the flickering lights. Maybe it's the empty seats where people should be. Or maybe it's that feeling in your gut, the one that tells you you're not supposed to be here. Madelyn didn't listen to that feeling. And she paid the price. It started with a late-night train ride. A simple mistake. A train that didn't stop where it should have. Then, the waiting, endless waiting in a station that seemed frozen in time. The city outside, gone. The world, empty. Or so she thought. But she wasn't alone. Something was there, lurking in the silence. Watching her. Following her. The further she ran, the deeper the nightmare pulled her in, through twisted tunnels, shifting landscapes, and a reality that was unraveling around her. No one to call. No way out. Just her and them. And the worst part? Madelyn was never supposed to leave. This is the last train to nowhere. A story of wrong turns, lost time, and the horrors that wait for those who don't belong. Are you ready to hear what really happened? You might not be able to sleep. That could be a good thing, though. Chapter 1: The Last Train. The fluorescent lights of the subway station flickered above, casting long, jittery shadows against the tiled walls. Madelyn checked her phone, 2:47 a.m. The last train should have arrived 10 minutes ago, but the station's eerie silence suggested otherwise. She was alone, except for the rhythmic drip of water somewhere in the darkness beyond the platform. She exhaled, the sound of her breath unnervingly loud in the emptiness. She had been out late at a friend's party and, against better judgment, took the subway home. Cheaper than a cab, she had reasoned. But now, sitting on the cold, metal bench, the weight of exhaustion settled over her. Madelyn glanced at the map above her, following the lines with her finger. She was sure she was on the right platform. The schedule on the screen overhead now read last train, 2:55 a.m. A few more minutes. Just a little longer. Her eyelids felt impossibly heavy. Maybe she could close them for just a second, just a tiny moment to rest. The dim hum of the station became a lullaby, the cold metal against her back oddly comfortable. Just for a second. Darkness swallowed her whole. When Madelyn's eyes snapped open, the station was silent. Too silent. The electronic sign above no longer displayed the schedule, just a blank, pulsing screen. The air felt thicker, heavier, like something unseen had filled the space around her. Her phone screen was black. Dead. Panic flared in her chest. Had she slept through the last train? She sprang up from the bench, heart pounding in her ears. Maybe she could take the stairs and find her way back up to the streets. But as she turned, her breath hitched. The stairs were gone. Where there had once been an exit, there was now only a blank concrete wall. No signs, no markings, just endless, smooth cement. The tunnel where the train should have come from stretched into an abyss, longer, darker, deeper than she remembered. A void that seemed to breathe. Then, the sound. A distant shuffling. Slow, deliberate. Like something dragging itself forward. Madelyn's pulse roared in her ears as she turned toward the tracks. There was no train. No lights in the tunnel. Just an unholy darkness watching her. Then came the whisper. Low, guttural, wet, like something speaking from beneath the earth.
You shouldn't have fallen asleep.
Madelyn stumbled backward, her breath strangled in her throat. The voice wasn't hers. It wasn't human. And worst of all, it was coming from behind her. Chapter 2: No Way Out. Madelyn spun around, her body moving before her mind could catch up. Nothing. Just the empty station, the flickering overhead lights, the hollow silence pressing in on her from all sides. Her chest heaved. She wasn't alone. She could feel it, an unnatural presence, lurking just beyond the edges of her vision. The whisper had been real. It had slithered into her ear like a breath from something too close. A shiver crawled up her spine. She needed to leave. Now. Turning back toward the tracks, she searched for any sign of a train, or anything that could take her away from this place. But the tunnel remained black, an endless throat swallowing all light. Her phone was still dead, and the emergency call button on the wall had been ripped out. Wires dangled from the metal plate, sparking feebly as if mocking her helplessness. Her stomach twisted into knots. There had to be another exit. She turned toward the far end of the station, where a second tunnel led toward another platform. Maybe, just maybe, she could find a way out there. Her shoes clacked against the tiles as she walked, the sound too loud in the silence. It was as if the walls were swallowing every noise, muting the world around her. Each step echoed back at her a half-second later, delayed, warped. Like something was following her, mimicking her movements. She didn't dare look back. The corridor leading to the next platform was longer than she remembered. Much longer. The overhead lights buzzed erratically, and the advertisements along the walls were wrong. Madelyn slowed her steps, her breath catching in her throat. A poster that should have been for a perfume ad now featured a woman's face. No, not a face. A mouth. A grotesque, stretched grin filled the entire ad space, gaping open as if screaming, but there was no sound. Just the silent, yawning void of its too wide mouth. Her hands trembled. The ad next to it was worse. It was her. Madelyn's own face stared back at her in the glass frame. Her eyes, hollow and black. Her mouth twisted into the same inhuman grin. And then, it blinked. The air was sucked from her lungs. She stumbled back, slamming into the opposite wall. The lights flickered, once, twice, and then went out. Total darkness. Then, shuffling footsteps. Not hers. Coming closer. Then the whisper, right against her ear.
You shouldn't have fallen asleep.
A hand, ice-cold and bony, gripped her wrist. Madelyn screamed. Chapter 3: The Hollow Ones. Madelyn thrashed, yanking her arm away from the freezing grip, but her body felt sluggish, like she was moving through thick water. The darkness around her was suffocating, pressing against her skin like a living thing. Her breath came in short, ragged gasps. She needed to see. Fumbling, she reached into her pocket for her phone. The moment her fingers wrapped around it, she felt it move. Not the phone, something else. Something inside her pocket shifted. A nauseating, writhing sensation skittered against her fingertips, like hundreds of tiny legs scrambling to escape. It was alive. She shrieked, hurling the phone from her pocket, but the moment it hit the floor, the screen flickered to life, casting a dim glow into the suffocating blackness. She wasn't alone. A crowd of figures stood before her, bodies shrouded in murky shadow, surrounding her on all sides. They had no faces, just smooth, featureless heads, tilted slightly as if listening. A choked sob lodged in her throat. They weren't just standing still. They were swaying. Like marionettes held by unseen strings, their heads lolled unnaturally from side to side. A rhythmic, synchronized motion. Then, in perfect unison, they all took a step forward. Madelyn stumbled back. Her heel caught the edge of a stair, and she collapsed onto the steps leading back up to the station's exit. Her palms slapped against the cold tile, and pain shot up her arms. The figures stopped. A long silence stretched between them. Then, from deep within their group, a whisper. "Where do you think you're going?" Her blood turned to ice. One of the figures at the front lurched forward, its faceless head twitching violently, its body convulsing like it was struggling to hold itself together. And then it screamed. A deafening, ear-piercing wail erupted from its non-existent mouth. The other figures joined in, their bodies contorting, shrieks layering over one another until the sound became a horrific symphony of agony. Madelyn bolted. Her feet pounded against the steps as she ran, lungs burning, ears ringing with the echoes of their unholy cries. She didn't look back, she couldn't. She reached the top of the stairs and threw herself against the exit doors, locked. No, no, no. Her fists pounded against the metal, but they didn't budge. Behind her, the wailing stopped. Silence. She turned, her pulse hammering against her ribs. The platform was empty. The faceless figures were gone. Only the flickering lights remained, buzzing softly in the eerie stillness. Her body trembled. Had she imagined it? Had she hit her head when she fell asleep? A soft click echoed through the station. The sound of a door unlocking. Madelyn's breath hitched. Slowly, she turned her head toward the noise. The maintenance door at the end of the platform stood slightly ajar. A dark gap beckoned her inside. And from the shadows within, a voice whispered, her own voice. "Come inside, Madelyn." Chapter 4. The Door That Shouldn't Exist. Madelyn's stomach twisted into knots. That was her voice. But it wasn't coming from her throat. It echoed from the slightly open maintenance door at the far end of the platform.
"Come inside, Madelyn."
The words slithered through the air, soft and inviting. Too inviting. Her whole body screamed a no. Every survival instinct told her to turn around and find another way out. But the exit was locked. The tracks led nowhere. And behind her, the stairwell loomed with the memory of those faceless things. What choice did she have? She took a slow step forward. Then another. The closer she got, the colder the air became. Her breath turned visible, swirling in the dim light. Something was wrong. A strange sound crawled through the crack in the door. Drip. Madelyn stopped. Drip. Drip. It sounded like water? No. Thicker. A slow, wet, sickening sound. Like something was leaking on the other side. Her fingers hovered over the door handle. A single thought repeated in her mind, "Don't do it." She did it anyway. The door groaned as it swung open, revealing pitch-black nothingness. A dense void stretched before her, endless and swallowing all light. Then, at the very edge of her vision, something moved. Her own reflection stepped out of the darkness. Madelyn's breath hitched. It was her. But it wasn't her. Not at all. The thing had her face, her body, but it was wrong. It was so wrong. Its eyes were too wide, lips curled in an unnatural smile. Its skin looked wet, like it had been peeled off and put back on. And then it spoke to her, in a voice that wasn't quite hers. You shouldn't be here. Madelyn stepped back, her heartbeat hammering in her ears. The doppelganger grinned wider, its lips splitting open like a tear in fabric. But now that you are. It lunged. Madelyn screamed and slammed the door shut, but the thing hit the other side with inhuman force. Bang. The door rattled in its frame. Bang. Bang. The thing was laughing. Madelyn was sobbing. Then, silence. A different noise now. A soft scuttling. Like something had just crawled up the walls and into the ceiling. She backed away, her entire body shaking. And then, the train arrived. The sound of screeching metal filled the station. The headlights of the subway train blinded her, cutting through the dimness. The doors slid open. Empty. Madelyn didn't hesitate. She ran inside. The doors snapped shut behind her. The train lurched forward. She collapsed into a seat, chest rising and falling, her mind still reeling. But she was safe now. Right? Deep down she knew the answer. It was not good. Then, slowly, the train lights flickered. And across from her, someone was sitting in the empty seat staring blankly in her direction. A woman. Dripping wet. Smiling. Her own face staring back at her. Chapter 5. The Final Stop. Madelyn couldn't breathe. Her own reflection sat across from her, soaked, grinning, wrong. Water pooled beneath the seat, trickling down the aisle in tiny streams.
Where are we going, Madelyn?
The voice was hers, but twisted. Stretched too thin, echoing in a way that made her skin crawl. Madelyn forced herself to look away, gripping the edge of her seat so hard her nails dug into the fake leather. She screamed, "This isn't real. It can't be real. You are not real. You are not real." The train lurched forward, faster now. The tunnel outside was nothing but blackness, no stations, no stops. Just a void rushing past. She had to get out, and she had to get out now. Her eyes darted toward the emergency brake. It was right there. Just a few feet away. If only she could reach it, she could pull it. A cold hand wrapped around her wrist. Madelyn screamed, jerking back. The reflection was closer. She hadn't moved. But now she was sitting next to her. Soaking. Grinning.
Leaving already?
The thing tilted its head. Its skin peeled, like wet paper dissolving at the edges. Madelyn shot up from her seat and ran. The train stretched impossibly long. No end. No conductor. No other passengers. Just her. And it. The lights overhead flickered, then died. The train was moving in total darkness now. The sound of dripping. Then, breathing. Right behind her. Madelyn turned, the thing was inches from her face. Its eyes were not eyes anymore. Just black, bottomless holes.
This is your final stop.
The train screeched to a halt. The doors slid open, revealing nothing. A chasm. A black pit that stretched forever. The air pulled at her. The thing gripped her arm.
Time to go.
Madelyn fought. She fought with everything she had. She kicked, screamed, dug her nails into its decaying flesh. But it was too strong. It was dragging her all around as if she was weightless. Her feet left the ground. The dark, empty void swallowed her scream. She couldn't even hear her own scream. Then, a sound. A train horn. Blinding light. Another train, barreling through the darkness, slammed into them. Madelyn was falling. Falling. Deeper into the dark abyss. The void seemed endless. Then, she hit the ground. It was concrete. She gasped, eyes flying open. She was back. Back at the station. The world was alive again. The buzzing lights. The distant hum of cars above. People. Real people. Her hands trembled as she pushed herself up. Was it a dream? A hallucination? Then she heard it. Soft. Quiet. Drip. 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 She turned her head and saw wet footprints leading away from her. And at the end of the station, a reflection in the glass, smiling. The train arrived. Remembering all she just experienced, whether it was all in her mind or she was pulled into a twisted dimension. She didn't get on the train. And she never took the subway again. Ever. The end.